Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 6 simple daily habits that I think will be helpful for you in 2025. And so if you enjoy this type of content and other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. So today I'm going to share with you these 6 simple daily habits that will hopefully help you feel better this year. I know some things are hard, like life is busy. There's lots of things going on, but these are things that I do consistently that have helped me feel better and just help me like make it through the day. Because sometimes that's all we can do is make it through the day. And so I'm gonna share them with you today. The first one is to drink water, and not just little bits of water, like lots of water. I think the general rule of thumb is half your body weight in water. I drink more than that most days. I usually am shooting for around 100 ounces, and it helps your skin, it helps you feel better. Like, your body needs water. And you can also do electrolytes. I struggle with straight up electrolyte like mixes because the salt, I just can't, that much salt is just like, it's too much for me. And I do have an inner ear disease that sometimes having too much salt in my diet can cause lots of problems. And so I do love, though, the Mixer's electrolyte drink. What is it now? I can't even think. It's like a hydration drink. So it's not quite the same, but it uses coconut water in it, which has a lot of natural like electrolytes and benefits that way. And so that's what I like to drink throughout the day, or just like in the afternoon. I love the coconut lime one, so it's kind of a treat for me. I don't really love lots of other drinks. Okay, I don't even have a problem really not drinking water because I just don't love flavored drinks generally. And so if I want a drink that's flavored, I don't want it to be super sweet, and I want it to be kind of tart, which is why I like the coconut lime flavor because I want it to be tart and stuff like that. So that's generally what I do, but I shoot for about 100 ounces of water a day. And it's the most helpful for me to drink that much. Like, the way I can do that is by carrying my water bottle with me everywhere. So this is a hydro jug. I really like this one. I also have the simple modern ones. So those ones, the straw doesn't fold down like this one does. So I like this one when I'm going out of the house, but I really like the simple modern one as well. And I fill this up in the morning. I have it with me when I'm working out. If I leave the house, like, we're attached. We're like best friends. And so I feel like that's one of the easiest ways to get water, is just to make sure you always have it with you, because then you will drink it more. And some people have to, you know, set goals and force themselves a little bit at first to drink more water if you're not used to it, but it does make a huge difference in your body. If you drink lots of water, it will help you feel so much better, maybe eliminate some of the little bits of headaches you get. With my kids, whenever they come up to me and say, I have a little headache, my first thing I always ask them is if they've been drinking enough water, because 9 times out of 10 that fixes the problem. Not always, but a lot of times it does. So drinking lots and lots of water. The second thing is walking, or moving your body in some way. And I view this as a little separate from daily exercise. Like, obviously this still is exercise, but I'll talk about what I do for exercise in a minute. And so for walking, I shoot for about 10,000 steps a day. And sometimes we don't realize how little we move until we actually start to track our steps. And I'm not someone that's like, you need to like crazy track your steps, you know, and if you're not getting them, stand up and just like start stepping. I'm like, intentional movement is important. Okay, don't just stand in one spot and take a bunch of steps because you're behind on your steps and you don't want to miss your streak or whatever. Like, do something intentionally. Go outside. You know, it's a double benefit of being outside, enjoying nature, and getting some movement in. Get on a treadmill for a few minutes. You know, if you want to watch one of your shows for that day, turn it on, get on the treadmill if you have one. You know, something like that, but just intentional movement. Or maybe if you need to go upstairs, there's a lot of times where I ask my kids to do stuff, to run upstairs or downstairs to get it. And I still do that a lot. And I do it partially because I want them to be willing to help in the house. But there's times where I'm like, oh, I could go do this, or I'll just go do this real quick and it's not a big deal. And also like it helps me move my body a little bit. If I've been sitting around, like get up and just go do it yourself. And it just makes you feel so much better, like moving around. From someone that had ankle surgery, I don't even know how long it's been, 7 months? Has it been 8 months? I don't know, 7 months? I'd have to calculate it out. But not being able to move it sucks, guys. It's not fun at all. Like, and it doesn't make you feel good. Like getting up, moving, being able to go outside, enjoy nature, have that freedom of movement is so important. Your body will thank you later. Just get up and walk and move in some sort of way. The third thing is strength training, doing some sort of strength training. You might have to find something that you like, that works for you. There's lots of different options. I am in no way an expert at this, but things that I like to do is lifting. I've discovered that, you know, there's times where I have a love-hate relationship with it because it can be hard. Sometimes my garage is really cold and I don't want to be out there, but it always makes me feel better. And especially like once I get into it, and lifting, like having some sort of resistance for your body helps strengthen your muscles, and it just feels good to feel strong, right? To do something that is hard and to become stronger at it. And so it's very good for you, and especially for women getting older and closer to 40, to be doing some sort of strength training. And again, you might have to find something that works for you. So for me, for a while, I was lifting basically 6 days a week in some sort of form. It wasn't always crazy heavy. Some days were a little bit more endurance, you know, or mixed in with a little bit more cardio or something. And then I decided that my body just couldn't handle it. Like it was too much. And I have like an old ankle, I have knee issues sometimes. And so I listened to my body and was like, lifting 3 days a week and just making sure it's very good focused lifting time was good for me. Like that made me feel the best. It made me feel less achy. I'm still gaining muscle and it works well for me. So usually that's Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, most weeks, not always. But usually that's what happens. Friday ends up being a rest day for me for exercise in general because I go to the temple in the morning. And so I like to work out in the morning. So that day I just go on a walk. I don't lift or do any more mobility training, which I'm gonna talk about in a minute. But that's what's worked for me. So you gotta find something that works for you. Find a program that you like. I've done Beachbody. I can't even think of let me look on my phone real quick, what her app is called. She's on Instagram. She does a lot of stuff with diastasis recti, and which is why I first saw her, but Deliciously Fit and Healthy is, I think, her Instagram handle, but it's also, she has an app now that she puts workouts on. And so that's what I've been doing recently. I've really loved it. I know that Macro Friendly Foods now not only does her app with food, but also does lifting. And it, I think, defaults to gym lifting, but if you lift at home, you can tell them and they can adjust it for you. That's another one I'm interested in trying. And I like trying new programs because it just pushes your muscles in slightly different ways, having something a little different. But that's what I do. So find something that works well for you, but do some sort of resistance training. You can even do bands. I love doing things with band work. When I was at physical therapy, we do a ton of things with that to like strengthen hips and everything like that to help out my knee and ankle. And so there's lots of different options. Don't just think like, oh, I'm not gonna like doing that, or it's too hard for me. You can find something that works for you that you can enjoy. The fourth thing I wanted to mention is mobility. And just mobility in some sort of way, right? This is gonna look different every single day. And let me just explain from my point of view what I like to do. So again, having ankle surgery and having lack of motion for so long and still struggling a little bit with getting some range of motion back, like mobility is so important. When you stop using your joints and your muscles and moving them in deeper ways, they stop working for you, okay? It becomes harder to move. And so motion is the butter that keeps that stuff going. And so I have started on the days that I'm not lifting, so usually Tuesday, Thursdays, because Sunday is another rest day for me most of the time besides walking. So Tuesday, Thursdays, I will do deep mobility. I've liked using Kin Stretch. Again, that one I found, I think it's Kin Stretch with Beard. His program is a little pricier, but you could still, on his Instagram, he shares some things. You could try some of those deep exercises as well. But I've been doing those a lot for like my ankle dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. There's stuff for shoulders, for back, for strengthening your hips, just increasing range of motion. And like, you're holding stretches for minutes and minutes and minutes. It is hard, okay? And it is uncomfortable, and you have to practice it. Like, it might seem like, oh, this is not a workout, but it is very difficult. And having that mobility is so important. It helps you also do better with strength training, because now you have deeper mobility in those places. So that's one option, you know, and that's something you can just trade off with strength training or whatever. But just stretching, there's some days where I just feel a little tighter, and so it's like, just sit down and stretch before you work out, stretch after you work out, stretch after you go on a walk. Maybe in the evening, if you're watching a show, sit down and stretch, right? Just try to get some motion back in those things. Another thing that I do, and since now we have a real job, we've had a real job for several years now, but I've been getting massages ever since we got a real job. And I don't really do a whole lot of other, like, I don't get my hair dyed, I don't get my nails done, all those types of things I don't really do, but I knew massages would help me, and they helped a lot after ankle surgery, working through all that fascia and trying to break up scar tissue, but also just in general mobility. Like, she works my shoulders really well to try to keep things moving, because they'll get super tight. And most of the time I'm just going once a month. So again, this isn't like a daily thing, but some sort of daily mobility is important. So I'm just giving you some options of things you could do and work into your schedule to make it work. So some sort of massage, maybe every month or every few months, or, you know, whatever. If you feel like something that's super tight, it might be a good option for you. The fifth thing is to pay attention to what you eat. Okay, I'm not gonna say anything about certain vitamins or any like supplements or anything like that, because I feel like those things are so tricky and so personal, because different things do different things to different people. If that made any sense. You know, the different types of things you can take are gonna affect people differently. And obviously, yes, there's ones you can get that are better for you as far as cleaner and with less ingredients and stuff like that. And different people are gonna be deficit in different things. And so I'm not gonna sit here and say, go take this and go take that, okay? That's not something I'm gonna do. But if you want to, you know, go figure out what works best for you. And if you do have some things you're deficit in or struggling with or whatever, you can go figure those things out. But the thing I do want to say is just paying attention to what you're eating is so important. So for me, like, counting macros has been helpful. I'm not like super strict about it. Like, if I'm trying to drop some weight, I'll be more strict about it, but just being aware. So even doing it every once in a while so that I can remind myself what I'm eating and how much. Because I think even if we're like, oh yeah, I had lots of fruits and vegetables today, and I had my proteins and I had this, we sometimes don't realize all the little things that get into our foods, you know, or the fats that add up. Like, salad dressings have so much fat in them. Like, just being aware of those types of things when you're making food and being intentional about it, I think is so helpful. And it makes me feel better in a day when I know I've had a well-balanced diet, and eating more protein has helped as well. I'm not a huge meat lover, and so I've had to be creative about some of the ways that I get protein into my diet. But most days I'm getting around 140 grams, and that's quite a bit, but it's also a good amount, especially for weight training and things like that. And so just paying attention to what you eat. I think so many people don't, and we just mindlessly get food, put it in our mouths. I've been guilty of that, but being more aware of how we're fueling our body, and also teaching our kids that has become something that I've like more important to me, that I've really thought about. Like, oh, I need to show them maybe what a good portion size is for them and what is the most helpful for them. And so just all those types of things I feel like is very important. Having a healthy, good relationship with food. I have not perfected it yet. I'm still working on it, but I think it's something that we all could work on. My last simple daily habit is having time with Christ. I am a Christian, I'm a strong Christian, and I need that time with my Savior every single day for my own sanity, for my family's sanity, but also just to fill me with some peace, right? To have some calm. I think it's easy to go throughout our day and just go through all the motions and forget the quiet moments and forget those simple pondering meditative moments. And if you're not like a super religious person, even just doing some sort of meditation, right? Just giving you a moment to be quiet, contemplative, thinking, whether that's in the scriptures or not in the scriptures, or you're listening to maybe a podcast or a talk or something that is helping you uplift your spirit. Just having those moments where all the busyness of life isn't there and you can focus on something higher than yourself, I think is really important for helping our overall health. And it blesses me so much when I can take those moments. And I like to study in the morning personally, but because throughout the day I can keep reflecting on those things. And then when issues come up or things at homeschool, a lot of times what I study in the morning, I'm talking about with my kids at homeschool, and as we do our scripture study there. And so I can use all those things that I had studied that morning to talk throughout the day, to reflect on throughout the day, maybe to have better experiences than I would have had otherwise. Again, not perfect. It's easy for me to sit here and say all these points. None of them am I perfect at, but they are things that when I am doing well at them and trying to be intentional, my life is better. Like I feel better physically and mentally and spiritually. And that just makes me a better mom, a better human, a better wife. All those things increase and get better when I'm trying to be intentional about these things. All right, so those are my 6 simple daily habits for hopefully helping you feel better this year. If you enjoy this type of video, please remember to give me a thumbs up and comment down below maybe some of your goals or some habits you do daily that really help you, because I'm sure they'll be helpful to us too. And I will see you next time.